Financial heavyweights, including Charles Schwab, Citadel Securities, and Fidelity Digital Assets, are backing crypto exchange EDX Markets. This exchange will be led by Jamil Nazarali, a former senior executive at trading giant Citadel Securities. Jamil is joining us to talk to us about this new development. Welcome, Jamil.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So congratulations. But, let's just sort of get into the larger question here, which is that this is an interesting moment to be launching an exchange. Exchanges are facing a lot of pressure right now. You have even the sort of leading exchange in the United States, Coinbase, its stock has gotten crushed. Exchange volumes have been hit hard by the bear market. Regulators, have exchanges in their crosshairs. So what gives you sort of the confidence? I mean, I imagine this has been in the works for a while, but what gives you the confidence to sort of bring an exchange into this environment?
Well, I'll say a couple things. Number one is all of the investors in EDX Markets are industry leaders and they're long-term players. So they're not investing to make a quick buck, but they're really trying to invest to build the infrastructure for the future. And EDX Markets is quite different from the existing exchanges. Number one, it's not going to have direct customer accounts. It's going to serve as the venue for intermediaries who want to have their customers' orders executed at the best price in the market. And we're bringing many of the best practices from traditional finance to make the trading of digital assets safer, faster, more efficient, and to drive down costs. So it's really quite different than what is out there right now. And what we see in the future is that investors will continue to have two ways to trade digital assets. They'll be able to open up an account at one of the crypto native exchanges that have direct customer accounts, or they'll be able to trade through their trusted intermediaries that they already have accounts with.
So I have to raise the obvious point, because we are a crypto show, that the word trusted intermediary is fundamentally antithetical to the whole concept of crypto, right? And I imagine that you also know that. So, you basically have two opposing trends in the crypto world. On the one hand, you have people trying to get more decentralization, decentralized exchanges, DeFi, but you're sort of going in the opposite direction. So can you explain why? How do you explain that logic? Why do we need a trusted intermediary in crypto? Because in theory,
Sure.
Crypto is supposed to be the replacement for that.
Yeah, so I get that sentiment, but I think the reality is you're going to have an intermediary either way. If you open an account at Coinbase, FTX, cryptocurrency.com, what have you, they're an intermediary, right? And so I think that, number one, there's going to be intermediaries either way because they allow you to get the best prices in the market. Number two, I think what we're finding is that there are a large number of investors that are on the sidelines because they're a little bit nervous about opening up an account at a new institution, and that if their existing broker-dealer, if their existing financial firm offered crypto trading, then they would invest. And so we think that there's a lot of investors on the sideline that this will bring in.
Jamil, SEC Chairman Gary Gensler seems to imply that proof-of-stake cryptocurrencies may be considered securities down the road, if not sooner. Is the EDX basically structured to be an exchange? Should that be the case? Is that kind of like what's the driving force behind creating this kind of an exchange? And what will you do once they are declared securities, or if they are declared securities by the SEC, and it changes the way in which people can invest or trade in crypto?
Yeah, that's a great question. And obviously the regulatory environment is really important to us. We're going to be very conservative in terms of the tokens that we trade, so that if we're unregistered, we're not going to be trading securities. And to the extent that more and more tokens become that are declared securities, then there's no options that are not on the table, including potentially getting registration.
So some of your clients and former employers, they have a reputation, at least, for potentially trading against customers with I don't want to name any names. But there is a sense that some of these investors in your firm might trade against their customers, and especially because this is still an unregulated space relatively. There's no SEC or CFTC oversight necessarily, at least in the spot markets. What assurances do you have that you are not trading against customers, or that these firms and EDX itself, you do have that ability, I assume, to trade against the customers, but what assurances do customers, and these are institutional clients, I assume, that you're not going to go up against them?
Well, actually, the whole idea about EDX Markets is we're getting rid of a lot of conflicts of interest that are now in the market for crypto. So, for example, if you look at many of the crypto native digital exchanges out there, they are exchange matching engines. Some of them have internal desks that provide liquidity trade against customers. They provide custody. We are going to be an exchange that matches buyers and sellers, right? And we're going to take the best price in the market from market makers, and we're going to match it against customer orders that come in. And so we're not going to have those same conflicts that a lot of the existing exchanges in the market have.
Mm-hmm. Just want to be clear. So a common phrase in the industry is "not your keys, not your crypto." So if I have crypto on EDX, I will not be able to independently retrieve it.
So in the beginning, many of our clients are going to, or individual clients will not have wallets, but in the long term, or even the medium term, we will build that capability.
Okay. And as Emily mentioned earlier, the Nasdaq also made this announcement this morning that they're going to make this big push into crypto with their own crypto custody services. They've also hired a former Gemini, another crypto exchange staff to run their digital division. So what are your thoughts on this competition? Do you see, how do you see yourself differentiating, and do you just see more institutional adoption ahead coming forward?
Yeah, I mean, this is great development for the market, right? It's going to bring more institutional players in, and we welcome it. And they're not a competitor. Certainly, they're building a custody business. And that's something that I think is good for the market. I think that it'll facilitate more institutional adoption, and these are all welcome developments.